What up, ya boy, DFS up north, aka Josh Thomas here, and we are back with another 10 under 10 GPP video where I talk about my 10 favorite plays under 10% owned, 5 on DraftKings, 5 on Fanduel, brought to you again by those fine folks at DFS Army. It is week 1. We are back, baby. Let's go. Welcome back. Like I said, it's your boy, Josh Thomas, aka DFS Up North, here with a brand new 10 under 10 GPP podcast video, whatever you want to call it, where I'm telling you my 5 favorite plays on DraftKings, my 5 favorite plays on Fanduel, all under 10% owned, to help you take down a GPP this week. Maybe win that milli, baby. Let's go. Week 1. We've done it a bunch of times here at DFS Army, and you know what? It's going to happen again this season. I can almost guarantee it, whether it's a showdown or one of these week 1 main slate milli maker contests. And you know what? We are killing it at DFS Army this year. And if you, my friends, are ready to dominate, football is back. Code NFL15. I'm going to show you guys some of the tools that we have this year that are new, and also share with you my 10 favorite plays. Right? I'm excited. I am fired up for this year and what we are doing at DFS Army. I'm recording this right now. Meanwhile, the other guys are recording a live podcast right now. It gets a little long, but they cover every single game. I Geek, Kevin, we got Bobby Wow on there. We got Josiah, everybody. I think the Millie Maker man himself, Burns, who writes the Shark Chronicles every week, that takes a look at what wins the Millie Maker, right? And good thing to note here, guys, and this is a little freebie tidbit, is that me and Burnsy are both on a similar game this week. So he looks at the trends historically and says, hey, these are the games that I expect to maybe go off, or that we can expect to see some of the Millie Maker plays from, and we are on one together this week. I know that for a fact. So again, that's a VIP only article, though. This, my friends, is free. This is something that I will bring to you every single week, right? I will get you all the information that you need in a short 10-ish minutes podcast talking about my 10 favorite plays, like I said. And if you want access to like the Shark Chronicles or the research station that I'm going to show you guys here in a little bit, you got to use that code NFL15. We had it 20% off 2 weeks ago. Now it's 15. Maybe the best that we got, right? This is as good as it's going to get for the rest of the year. You want to just give your boys some shout out and go 10% off, you can use that up north, 10% off VIP monthly membership as well. But let's get into it, people. 10 GPP options under 10% owned on the week 1 main slate. There's a little sneak preview of what we're doing this week. Ya boy, Baker Mayfield. And like I said before, or if you guys have watched this in the past, my motto when it comes to DFS is very similar to the famous philosopher Richard Bobby and his quote, if you ain't first, you last, right? I ain't here to min cash, right? First or last, I ain't here to min cash. That is what I go by, right? So we got to take some chances, right? And we know that by back testing, you look at some of the back test videos, you scroll through our YouTube here, you'll see some of the stuff that Kevin's done, that winning lineups in the big GPPs almost always have players in their lineup that are under 10% owned. All right. So no weekly recap this week, right? No weekly recap. But I'm going to talk about my 5 favorite plays. One thing that we should note, though, here is that this is ownership as of the time of writing. What we've seen, or at least I've seen, especially last year, I felt like, is that ownership projections come out industry-wide. And most people, just a little secret here, most people get their ownership projections from the exact same source. But ownership projections come out on like Wednesday, maybe Thursday, right? And they get updated as the week goes on. But as soon as those initial ownership projections drop, what we tend to see is that people flock to these low-owned guys. And some of these guys, particularly potentially this one right here, we're going to talk about first, do tend to climb in ownership. All right. So everybody might see Baker Mayfield this week at 5.6% ownership, 5,600 on DraftKings. And by the time that the everybody kicks off on Sunday at noon, we could be looking at 15% ownership, 20% ownership. That happens, right? So it's important to remember that a low-owned play on Thursday is not always going to be a low-owned play on Sunday. All right. And you got to watch, one of the nice things about DFS Army, again, little pump up for us here is the active Discord. We have a live show on Sunday mornings too. And those ownership projections are always getting updated too. So you can watch and follow along, whether it's in the Discord, maybe I'm pinging the channel and saying, hey, love Mayfield on Thursday. I can't get on board at 20%, right? 20% Baker is a little iffy, right? And that is how I feel right now. But at 5.6%, people, we love us some Baker Mayfield against the Washington, I was going to say Redskins, Commanders this week. You don't need me to tell you the chalk QBs. Anthony Richardson, great play, right? You don't need me to tell you that. But the guys like Baker Mayfield, right? That is where we win Millie Makers, my friends. 6th highest team total on the slate. Commanders are terrible. Worst defense in the NFL last year against QBs on this slate. It's a home game. They're 4+ point favorites. Like, this is the play this week. Now, the one way you could get unique if you are going to play, like if Mayfield ends up getting chalky, I'm not saying he's going to, but I can see it happening, right? Evans and Godwin are going to be the guys. The way that you could get, a little bit different here would be to maybe play Mayfield and Cade Otton, or Mayfield, Jalen McMillan and Cade Otton. McMillan slotted in as the wide receiver 3, rookie year. Reports out of training camp, he's been awesome. All right. So I am very high on Mayfield this week. I don't know that you necessarily need a game stack. Terry McLaurin should get sort of high on because he's really the only guy that we really know what his role is going to be. But guys like Brian Robinson Jr. and Austin Eckler, both their running backs, I think are viable against the Bucs here. So you could get a little funky, right? Keep them in your player pool. There's that nice little sign. All right, now into the running backs. I think I've got 2 listed here. Yeah, 2 listed here that I'm really high on. Ramondre Stevenson, 6.7%. Like, I feel like nobody's talking about Stevenson. He's got the potential to get monster usage here, right? Jacoby Brissett's at the helm. The offense is going to be much better. He's a great pass catcher. We saw him get monster usage last year. They added Antonio Gibson. I like him. I don't think that he's going to really be a threat to Stevenson. 60% of the snaps at RB. I expect that again this year. 5 targets a game last year. He's an elite option on DK. I just don't see any downside in the scenario. I am just almost just lock buttoning Stevenson on DraftKings. I am that close to just saying going 100% because that you have the potential for a monster game and the floor is super high as well. So I am high on my boy Ramondre this week. Another guy that I'm high on, maybe higher than others, is Javonte Williams. I think that Javonte Williams is going to be on the winning basketball team on all of the sites this year. Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos are going to be much improved. They are going in, and Williams smashed last year. He was putting up 20-point DraftKings games with guys like Brett Rippon at the helm, right? Jaleel McLaughlin is a legit threat in the passing downs. The loss of Samaje Perine means that McLaughlin's going to get some work, but I don't think that it's going to really hurt Javonte Williams that much. And I think Williams can catch passes. I think they're going to keep him in there, especially if they're driving. All right. The props are great. I think this is a sneaky spot. And we are going to get on Javonte Williams a week or 2 ahead of the point where he's going to be the chalk, right? Because that's coming down the line. That's how strongly I feel about Javonte Williams this year. Next up, we got Khalil Shakir. You see that 5.1 he's I wrote in the notes. Shakir is Will Smith, right? In the Fresh Prince. The last episode where there's that, that meme or gif of him in the living room, looking around, there's no furniture. That's what Shakir is this year. Who is left in this offense, right? Keon Coleman, I think, is going to be a guy at some point, but with Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs gone, there is potential for huge usage from Shakir. And obviously the Bills feel pretty good about it if they let those guys walk, right? Keon, like I said, Dalton Kincaid could or should smash too, but man, this is a great spot for Shakir. It's highest total on the slate. I love this game. I love targeting both sides of this game. You'll see on the FanDuel, I got somebody from the cards coming. So this is a great spot. Now, this number, I'm just going to be honest with you guys. That number's not going to last because of the news. I wrote this last night. It's Thursday. I'm filming this. Oh my goodness, I'm losing track of time. It is Friday. I'm filming this. I wrote this on Thursday. I was very strong and high on Andre Iosebas. Yoshibas? I don't even know how you say his name. But they call him Yoshi. Deadman price, 2.56% ownership. When I wrote this, I was really high on him. I just think that he's going to get usage regardless. Then we get to Friday, and the notes come out that T. Higgins is doubtful with a hamstring injury. The guy cannot stay healthy. And that Jamar Chase, he said he will play, even if he doesn't have a contract, but he's probably going to be limited just because he hasn't been practicing. So we got the potential for this guy to be the number one wide receiver in a Joe Burrow offense. So the ownership's going to climb at 3,000. Like, he's going to be a cash lock. So I'm annoyed that we're not going to get him at this 2.5 or 6% ownership at dead min price, but like it's probably not going to last, right? There's my boy Bobby Wow with his Millie Maker win with a Daniel Jones, Sterling, like some of these guys on here, my man. Ballsy play. All right, we are switching gears now. We are going over to Fanduel, where they do have some new scoring this year. We get the bonuses for 300 yards. We get the bonus for 100 yards. And the guy that I'm starting out with is Geno Smith. I actually kind of sneaky like this game environment. Denver and Seattle. I think both these defenses are fairly poor, and both offenses can move the ball. Geno Smith is what we call correlated leverage this week. Everybody and their mother is going to play Kenneth Walker. And if Walker has a dud, it's likely that the passing game goes off. Geno Smith would be the beneficiary of that. Also, it's weird that we are seeing people be all over DK Metcalf and not over Geno Smith. Those guys are actually, like, there's no leverage there. Those guys are correlated. So I like Geno this week. I actually like Geno a ton with Jackson Smith and Jigba. He is going to ball out, as I do think that chalk DK Metcalf is going to run into Pat Surtain, which is a little bit of a concern here. So next up, we got your boy Devin Singletary. I really like the Vikings defense. I will be playing the Vikings defense this week. But I think Singletary could have a game here. He's pretty much it. Like, he's top 5 projected points per dollar play on the slate. He is going to be the guy in this Brian Daboll offense. He was used to Daboll in Buffalo, so there is no real like learning curve with a new team here. I expect him to do great. Now the issue is Daniel Jones so bad that he just doesn't get enough run, or the Vikings get up. But you know what? Sam Darnold's not that good either. So I think this is going to be a competitive game. I think they lean on the run a little bit here. And I will be all over Devin Singletary and the guy on the other side, right? Now, Jones just barely makes the cut. And I think by the time that we get to the game time on Sunday, he will not. I love him this week. He's a core play. That's why I included him. And you know what? My boy Geek is not convinced that he gets a huge workload here. So it's my chance to publicly prove him wrong. I bleed purple and gold, but like, for real, the Giants are trash. The defense has only gotten worse. Sam Darnold's serviceable. He should be able to move them up and down the field, but they're going to lean on the run game. And Ty Chandler is not cutting into the workload here. Like, the signs point for him, like, we're talking 80%, I think. I think for Aaron Jones this week. So multiple TD upside, former Packer. For my boys now not the black and gold, the purple and gold. I think he's going to have a big week. Next guy, Greg Dortch. I said I like this game, and people are all over Marvin Harrison and even Michael Wilson, and Dortch is the guy here. Sometimes you just got to listen to coaches. I'm good about reading like the BS speak, but coach says that he is going to have a monster year. He's going to have a huge year. Dortch is the veteran in this offense. I think he's got tons of upside. The price is crazy. The ownership is insanely low. Love Greg Dortch for the Arizona Cardinals this week against the Buffalo Bills. I like a little mini game stack there. And then finally, the last guy on the list. There is not, all the big tight ends are playing in primetime games. You got Laporta, Kelsey, Dallas Goedert, right? So guys are playing, these big guys are playing in prime time games. So it's time to take some chances on guys that have some upside, but maybe aren't going to be as popular. And for me, that guy this week is Kylan Granson. He's shown his ability before in passing downs. I love him here. There's three tight ends here. He is going to be the guy. He's got a great QB in Richardson who's not afraid to sling it. I do think that, and a young QB who's on the run is going to be looking for his tight end all the time. So Granson at that ownership, I think, is a smash play this week. So again, boys and girls, if you are not a DFS Army VIP, what are you thinking? What are you doing? Oh, I use that code NFL Dominate or NFL 15 ready to dominate. And I didn't even show you guys, right? Our new and improved research station. So if you are a DFS Army VIP, you do get access to all of this. And you can look at a variety of stats. So like, let's see our DraftKings projections for DK value among the QBs. Anthony Richardson is number 1, followed by Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, and that looks at points per dollar based on the projection. And is it any different than maybe on FanDuel and DraftKings, right? We can see the ownership. highest owned quarterback on the week right now is looking like Caleb Williams, which is crazy. I'm just looking at quarterbacks right now. There's stats. You can look at what their opponents did against guys last week or last year. Baker Mayfield, look at that 32. Ooh, baby, let's go Baker Mayfield. Love him this week. And you can see, our offensive defensive average pass yards per game. We're looking, Mayfield's looking at 271. So you can run that against what his prop is. Let's see. We can go into the Proptimizer here. I can bring up maybe somebody if it loads. Let's go unselect all. Let's bring up Baker Mayfield. We're projecting potentially 271 for Mayfield. Let's look at what the markets are. Total passing yards, 247. So we like the over there. Again, these are just tools that you can use with DFS Army if you become a VIP. So NFL 15 gets you there. There's your little freebie there that Baker Mayfield throws for more than 241 yards this week. Take the over all day long. So that is what I got for you guys. I hope this was helpful. Please leave me in the comments who you think is going to be the best play this week that's under 10% owned. It doesn't have to be one of my guys. You got your own. You do your own research, right? Let me know. I'll give you a shout out on the next week's podcast. I hope this, again, was helpful. Have a great week. We are back. NFL is here. It is the best time of the year, baby. Let's go.